Welcome to Biz Dev Live. My name is Cameron Toth, and I am so excited to bring you Tavia Sharp today. She is a brand consultant, an image consultant, somebody that will make you look better than you currently look so that your brand can really do all that you want it to do. In this day and age, every company needs to be a media company, and your personal brand is really important. We're going to talk about all of the aspects that go into building that know, like, and trust, the consistency across your socials, and making sure that your brand is not only your logo and your website, but everything that you put out into the world. We're going to get into all of that and more right after the Biz Dev theme. Stay with me.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Men's image consultant, speaker, and coach Tavia Sharp specializes in helping ambitious men create their billion-dollar brand image, unleash killer confidence, and step into the 2.0 version of themselves so they can crush it in their business and beyond. I'm so excited to bring you Tavia Sharp. She's been on the show with me and Steve Spiro, the Master Connection series. She's a standout performer. She really brings a lot of value when she speaks. So excited to have you on the show today. Thank you for being here, Tavia.
I'm so excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. All right, so tell me what you're doing right now, right? So people can understand what you got going on with your business, with your consultancy, and then we'll get into the background story. Go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm working with clients one-on-one. I'm working with businesses, all about how to create your billion-dollar brand. So it's really personal branding. How do you sell yourself? How do you stand out and create impact and influence visually? So your appearance, how you're communicating yourself, and how you're showing up in this virtual world, impacting others. So if you're a business owner, you're a consultant, a coach, a speaker, you have to be selling yourself online. So, it's all about your visual impression. And so I'm working with clients one-on-one, and I'm working with businesses and small teams who are client facing, and how to actually show up in a more impactful way in this virtual world that we're living in.
I love that. And talk to me just quickly before we go into the origin store, because I want to get the background story, but I also want people to understand where this is all going as you're talking to folks about it. But how have you seen people controlling their image both go? I know we're going to go back into this, but just a real quick, how it could go wrong really easily and how it can go right really easily.
That's a good question. Well, I think that, we all quickly we had to pivot, right? We were used to networking in person. We were used to doing a lot more things in person. And with this world, that got flipped upside down, maybe some of us weren't prepared for or already set up to really promote and sell ourselves in a virtual world. So I see some people just weren't ready for that. And so they didn't know how to show up on camera, lighting, what they wear, how they're speaking about themselves. Some people don't feel 100% confident on camera. So there's a lot of things that people maybe just weren't aware of, and how to actually, show up in this world. In person may have been really easy for some, or more comfortable. So it's really about feeling prepared and having all of those ducks in a row, so that when you go to that virtual networking meeting, or you have that Zoom call with a potential client, that you are prepared, that you look and feel like your most powerful, confident self. So you just nail it. That's what I see. And so some mistakes I see are, not maybe thinking about your appearance as much, thinking about, all of your setup, your lighting, your background, all that stuff. It wasn't really in place. I think some people, obviously have learned quite a bit from 2020 and that they have to think about these things. But I do see some of that still happening. Also, people are realizing that they have to sell a little bit differently. Maybe they need to be doing more video or maybe doing webinars, and they just, aren't really prepared for that. So I've been helping a lot of people with that as well.
Yeah, and I'll give two quick examples to sort of help kind of bring this point across. I just finished speaking with a speaker, a presenter, a coach this morning. And so they have an amazing opportunity because they have a TED Talk that's been seen 1.5 million times. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you go to their own YouTube channel and they have 3 videos from 5 years ago. And, I don't think people connect the dots, right? The huge opportunity that's presented right now and how to take advantage of it. So I think you both have the good and bad there, right? We're in this virtual world and you can have this incredible momentum, and they've definitely taken advantage of that with the TED Talk stage. But on the other end of it, they're not actually bringing that over to their brand and showcasing it on a daily basis to take advantage of it, to build their personal brand, to execute, to show that they're current, up to date, and in the know. And I think that's where somebody like yourself comes across and says, all right, let me look across your socials. Let me look at what your photos look like. Let's make sure that you look like you're of this century. Let's make sure that you look like you're somebody that's not going to embarrass. And I think that's really the big deal for me, is if I'm hiring a speaker, I'm bringing somebody to my platform, because, especially like BizDev Live, are you going to showcase what this is? Are you going to make this look good? Or are you going to make this difficult and challenging and embarrass me?
That is so, and what I thought of immediately was, when you do a video like we're doing, this is here. We're not going and erasing it and doing it over. The video is going to be there, right? So whether you're putting on your YouTube or your social media, that's here to stay. So are you showing up as that person that you're creating the like factor, the trust factor, the credibility is huge. We don't know what people are thinking because they don't always say to us what they're thinking, right. But they're thinking something. We all do it. That's human nature. But the problem is that we don't always know what they're thinking. So, if you have a potential customer, client, opportunity, right? And you don't even know how many you're missing out on because of the fact that you weren't putting your 100% on that video or on that post or that piece of content you shared. And so you really need to be thinking about that. Makes a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So talk to us. How did you get into this line of work? What's your background? Why are you passionate? What's your why on all this?
Yeah, it's so good. I worked in the fashion industry for 15 years. I was a menswear designer. I worked for some top brands, Calvin Klein, Macy's, Nautica. I even styled celebrities, Neo, and a bunch of people, Chrissy Teigen. And I just realized, although that was fun and it was very fulfilling at one point, I started to do some personal development work. And I realized that, what, for me, your image and how we show up is really about empowerment. It's an extension of who you are. And when you can empower yourself this way, you just have more amazing things happen. It has a ripple effect because it changes your energy. We all know what it feels like to walk into a room and really command that room to feel good. When we look good, we feel good. And then that creates an energy out there. And you can do it this way too, on your videos in the virtual world. And I realized I want to bring this to everyday people that, can feel this way. And so I started doing it. I started, working with people one-on-one on the side when I was still designing at Calvin Klein. And I just realized how empowering it was for people getting results, getting the dates they wanted, getting the clients, getting the business opportunities, speaking at Fortune 500 companies. I mean, I'm thinking all of this really could be a lot more simple. It is very transformational.
And let me go back a little bit, because you kind of glanced over your designer career, but you have you were educated at FIT, which is one of the premier fashion and design institutions in the United States, period, right?
Yeah.
You were a designer at Nautica. You said you were a designer at Calvin Klein, but even before that, you were a senior designer at Macy's, which makes over the last 2 days, I've had two people that have worked for Macy's on the show. I had Diane Waugh, who was in the communications department as a corporate photographer. I don't know if you've ever bumped into her, but she's got a studio in Brooklyn. And actually, I'll try to show the photos that she took yesterday, because if you guys haven't connected, you guys should, because she's a great. She's got her own studio and music studio below that in this space in on the border of Queens and Brooklyn and NYC. So you have this incredible design background that you bring to everything that you've done. You made a decision. I want to impact people. I want to work directly with people, help them where they want to go, instead of basically working maybe, I guess, for these corporations. Why go this route with it? Why not become your own designer label? Like, I'm just curious, like what drove your passion to get into fashion and design in the first place? And what was the real thing that was like, I want to be a brand consultant?
Yeah, I mean, I am a designer. I always will be a designer. I have a creative eye. But what I realized was that, after I did some personal development work, I realized, you know what? I have this gift, right? I have this expertise that I'm really good at, creating, amazing amazing styles for particular brands, right? Big brands.
Right.
And then I have this personal development that I've wanted to bring to just regular everyday people. And I was like, how can I combine these two things? And I realized, oh my God, like even my own story, which is, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I was bullied as a kid, in grade school. I was bullied and I didn't feel very confident about myself. And once I started getting into fashion and looking at magazines, I realized, wow, if you could look this way, wouldn't you feel like you could take on the world, right? So I started thinking about that and how I empowered my own self just by changing the way that I look and really feeling authentic about it, but also just empowerment. And I started thinking about this word empowerment, and I was like, that's what I can do for other people. I basically brand them so that they can feel empowered, so that they can go out there and just crush it, whether that's in their dating life, in their business, in their career, in their speaking. And so that's why I do what I do.
I love that. And I love that you brought in the personal on the dating side. So talk to us a little bit about that, because it's one thing to help people with their brand image, but you really go into it and sort of help people with their look. I imagine that's got to be both a little weird sometimes and incredibly satisfying to help somebody both in their business life and their personal life.
Yeah, I would say majority of my clients and who I work with are entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants. They're the face of their brand. But then there's this other part of their life, right? And some people are married, but some people are single. And they want to feel empowered over there too. They want to feel empowered. They want to feel confident and attractive. I mean, who doesn't want to feel like that? And that when you feel that way and you approach dating that way, you get amazing results because you feel good about what you're putting out. And so, now we live in a virtual world with dating, right? We're on digital apps, and that's how we first meet people nowadays, especially now in now COVID. But what you're putting out there, don't you want to feel good about that? And you want to get those opportunities. You want people to swipe on you, and you want to be able to get to that first date. So I love helping people with that, making sure they're putting their best foot forward.
So talk to me a little bit about that, because this is something that's a little bit foreign to me. I've been married for the last 17 years. Nice. So the internet, and it's funny because my mother met her husband that she's currently married to, and they've been married for, I don't know, I don't even know, but like 10, 12 years, something like that. So it's I just missed that, really, like a big fad, of meeting people online. I know more people meet online now than actually meet in person. I think the statistics are right.
Yeah, and definitely now with the pandemic, because we're not really going out and meeting people that way.
But even before we got to a
but
place
even before,
yeah,
even before, the percentage is really high just because it became really easy, right? And there's so many apps out there. But if we think about it, it's your visual impression. You know, if you're putting yourself on this dating app and you don't look like your most authentic, attractive, confident self, I mean, there are things that pictures say, you know, without saying them. There's words that they're communicating. And so if you're not putting your best foot forward, you're not going to get the swipe. I mean, it all is unfortunately, that's what it's come down to. But it is true.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of people that might look at this and say, well, okay, Tavia, you're going to help somebody look more attractive for me as I'm swiping through, because you work with I don't think do you work exclusively with men or just mostly men?
Majority men. I mean, that's who my main client is. Yeah.
All right. So for all my ladies that are like, okay, do I have to watch out for the guy that's been styled by Tavia? You know, is this a false representation? And I want to get into this question because I think this plays into the business side as well, because there's this idea of, you know, am I, you know, faking it till I make it? Am I putting out this false thing? And then there's this other side of, you know, I want to lead with my best foot forward. So talk to us a little bit about that.
This is a great question. For me, and the way I approach it is all about authenticity. So, you know, even in my power statement, which you read earlier, to me, it's about stepping into your next level. This is somebody you already are, but you just aren't owning it yet. You aren't owning that 2.0 version of yourself. So it should, to me, should feel very authentic. And I'm not here to change anybody. I'm here to bring out your 2.0 version. So we go into that deep dive session in the beginning. We talk about what that is.
You're not airbrushing any abs on anybody.
No. I'm making you feel whoever you are, your most authentic self, but that next level version, so that you feel empowered by this look. Because I think a lot of people want to look and feel better. They just don't know the how. That's where I come in. I'm the guide. So I'm just guiding you to that next level that you already know you want to look like.
So both on the personal level and the business level, you know, what does that look like for somebody that's a little bit messy, that, you know, doesn't want to get in front of the camera? Talk to us about that process that you're going to go through with them.
So I first do the deep dive with them. I talk about what their goals are. We create their future vision, which is so fun to, you know, really dive into that with somebody. What does that look like for you? Who is that person? How are you showing up? How are you dressing? How are you putting yourself out there? And really go into that. And then I take them through the process. So I actually create their secret weapon style. That's what I call it. And I create your signature blueprint of how you're going to dress, what do you need to changes you need to make in your appearance, what's going to look best on you, what's going to make you feel best, color, style, fit. We shop for those items. I style the outfits for you, whether it's from this part up because you're on camera or the whole outfit. And then we go into that confidence factor. So now how are you going to put yourself out there, create that killer confidence and that energy that goes out there, so that you can start to magnetize opportunities, people, clients, dates. And then we go into the branding piece, which is creating your irresistible personal brand. So it's how are we optimizing all of your profiles, from the dating app to your Facebook profile, to your LinkedIn, to Instagram, whatever it is for you. We're going to optimize those, make sure you're making the most impactful visual impression. And then the last part is, all right, now, how are we going to have the magnetic presence in your video, in your speaking engagements? And that's really the final piece, because now we put all this together and now you can go out there and promote yourself with confidence. I
want to read this. So you posted this. Before working with Tavia, I had no real sense of my style. My wardrobe consisted of the items that had mostly survived over the past 10 years. It was a lazy style that left me feeling uninspired. Tavia helped immediately, even before my new items arrived. In reviewing my current wardrobe, I was able to really sit with the discomfort of it. And in talking about how I wanted to look, I was able to look forward towards what could be. When I saw the style guide Tavia put together, it felt like looking at the style I always wanted to have but could never articulate. Now that I'm integrating this new style into my everyday, I feel so much more excited to start the day, and I feel much more polished in my clothes. And even with most of my socialization and work on Zoom, so many people are telling me how great I look. Thank you, Tavia. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a very common thing because we don't know what we don't know until we experience it. And then we're like, whoa, I could feel this way like that. You know, other things take a while to have that result. Working out with a trainer, who I do myself, but all these other things take time. This can happen quickly. And that's the feeling that you can get. And then that's when you put that energy out there, that's when you start to have that ripple effect and more amazing things happen because of who you are and how you're showing up now.
I love that. And it really reminds me that, his commentary reminded me of a haircut. When you work with somebody that knows how to style your hair well, you can get, somebody that you may not know what size clipper, level 1, level 2, whatever, but you get a good barber, you say, I want it like this. And they know what you're talking about, and they're able to give you a sharp looking haircut. Having somebody that knows what they're doing to protect you, because it's one of those sensitive places. Like, here's somebody that's literally got their life in their hands, and to have somebody that understands and articulates what you have just told them, and then provides the actual product of providing that good look, because nobody wants a bad haircut. So many people are loyal to their barbers, not because they're particularly necessarily happy with their barber. They just trust them and know that they're not gonna give them a reverse mohawk or something.
Yes, I mean, that's the funny thing. It's like, I was thinking about, as we were reading that, he said, and to sit with the discomfort of it, because I think sometimes we don't realize how comfortable we are with just being comfortable. And then we don't realize that that's actually affecting how we are showing up in everyday life. And I know we're talking about clothes, although there's more to it. The clothes alone are an extension of who you are, and they have such an effect. It's a psychological effect. There's been many studies on this. It's called enclothed cognition, if anybody wants to look it up. But it is about that psychological effect of how we dress and how it impacts who we are and our mood and our mindset.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I get dressed up for this show every day. I am wearing jeans. I'll fully disclose that for folks, just because I am comfortable in my jeans. But for my look on camera, I want to feel good. I want to feel like I'm showing up. I've had somebody comment in terms of being on the show, because I know a lot of people have podcasts and YouTube shows like this. And I've definitely been invited by those folks that are like, wearing sunglasses and on their couch, and they're super casual. It does send a different message on the level, or the respect level that they give for their own vehicle, for their own show. So I've had people talk to me about, the fact that you dress in a suit, it makes me feel like this is a little bit more official. That makes it feel like something. And that's certainly what I'm going for. I want, I think, that dressing for the job that you want to have versus the job you have or where you are, I think is a big deal. I've always kind of looked at that inside of my work experiences. And then with the nonprofit that I work with, which is called soundbusiness.org, and we have the College and Career Preparation Institute, we've always put students into these career day situations and mock interview situations where we talked about the importance of code switching and fitting in within the environment that you're working in. And I've actually had job interviews in my life where I went back to that and realized, because I'm an overdresser, right? So I like to dress up. I dig it. And so I went into a job interview with the medical education company, and thank you, Majid Major. Thanks for saying more sophisticated. I appreciate you. I've gone into the company where they were much more casually dressed, and I went in a 3-piece suit, and the CEO popped his head in, said, hello. he's overdressed. He's not the right fit for here. Like literally said that to me. I was completely offended, but going back, like looking back at it years ahead, like I appreciate it. Like he painted a very good lesson for me that I've been able to since bring to other people. You got to look at the culture of the company. If you work in a tech company, then maybe the uniform is jeans and a t-shirt. You need to know that and understand that and step into the space in your full power and understand, if you choose to do something differently, that's a power move, I guess. It's a way of doing it. Do you have the authority? I love the fact that Gary Vee gets on all these stages and he's in a t-shirt and jeans or sweater. But if you go back in the day, he did dress the part when he felt like he had to. Now, he doesn't need to, right?
Right. He doesn't need to. You said we're not all Mark Zuckerberg and Gary Vee. Okay. They can wear whatever. They're already billionaires. They can do whatever they want at this point. But the reality is, first impression matters, and we all are judging a book by its cover. And I want to say, first and foremost, I'm not talking that everybody has a dress and a suit and tie. Okay, so I want to just make that clear. My goal is that everybody just dresses a level up from where they're at. So if you wear a t-shirt and jeans, what is the next level version of what? Is that a more put together look than what you have? That's my job, to create that for you. So I actually work with more people that just want to fit the modern professional look than a suit and tie look. Although I have some clients for suit and tie, it is for the client. If they work in tech, I'm not going to put them in a suit and tie. That just doesn't make sense. But what is the next level version of that? Is it a better fitting quality item? A better tee, put you in some blazers because you feel a little bit sharper and polished when you have a blazer on. So that's my job, to figure that out for them.
Yeah, I love this. And we got some of the styles kind of rapidly going here, but some of it's a little bit like jacket, blazer. Some of it's a little bit fashion. I love some of the edges. I can't wait till we get a chance to do a little bit of a style session. I'm looking forward to that because I'd love to see how you kind of put a twist on what I normally do. Major is saying a button-down shirt and khakis or slacks are almost always acceptable for most companies.
True.
What are you? I think that's some great point that Major, and he goes by Major Bell on Facebook, but I know him as Major. Major, you got to let me know what you want to be called. We were talking about names and the importance of saying names right, and how I've murdered Tavia's name before, called her Tavia and all that stuff. I might have even done it today in the intro without even realizing it. But Tavia, what is your opinion on kind of like go-to outfits, kind of things where you almost can't go wrong, just to kind of give people that kind of style guide?
Yeah, I mean, you were just showing my style guide. I have a lot of that in there, but I create those every season now. But basically, I mean, there are, kind of those basic items that every guy should own. I usually start there with my clients is like, do you have the basics covered? And once you have the basics covered, then we can go up to the next phase, which is the pieces that we can add into that capsule. So that my whole goal is that we create a wardrobe or add to your current wardrobe in a way that makes it very versatile. So, thinking about the items that you have, thinking about what we can add in so we can mix and match and get the most out of what you have. I don't want people to go and shop a million things. Like that is not, I don't think that that's a smart way to think about your wardrobe. I want to make it easy. And so we got to start with the basics, and then what's missing from there, that's my job to fill in the gaps.
And talk to me about, what are some different things that people can do just to level up their wardrobe right away?
Okay, so fit is number one. Always, always, always. That's the first thing I look at with my clients, because that's usually the problem area, meaning like people don't usually wear the right fit, or perhaps they have things that they've had for a long time. They just don't fit them very well anymore. They've changed weight or changed size. So fit, make sure you wear things that fit you. You could look like $1 million if the fit is right, Number two, I think men, I'm going to speak to men, don't wear enough color. Okay. So color is a huge thing. I think what it is they usually don't know how to mix the color into those basics. Most guys have navy, black, khaki, gray, white in their wardrobe. The basics, right? Like what you're wearing.
So
Exactly. I'm
a
calling
lot
you
of
out.
times I have today I'm not wearing the pink shirt and the pink tie, but I
Yeah.
think, what do you think about the pink shirt and pink tie that I normally wear?
Well, I liked about that is that first of all, it's color because most guys are afraid of it. And number two, I mean, it really is your brand. It is a way to actually incorporate your brand with your appearance because you are the face of your brand. So you're using the pink as a branding aspect. And so I teach my clients a lot about that too, like how to accessorize your personality, how to showcase your brand, how to create those items that become talking points. I say like conversation starters. So it's for men and women, it's a little different. So styles, also styles, trying to try different styles that maybe are out of your comfort zone, like, trying different blazers, maybe even adding some prints or different patterns to your wardrobe, different styles and in bottoms. I see a lot of guys typically stick to kind of the same thing: chinos, khakis, trousers. But what else can you try? There are other things out there: 5 pocket pants, even shoes. Trying chukka boots and things. I'm sure a lot of people may not even know what these terms are that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
throwing in
I'm
here.
completely lost. And let's bring this across to different things. So we're talking about clothing, but
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
about like, so I love that because I know Major Bell, right? And his first name is Major, but he says, sorry, my name is a rank. So Major, right? Like a corporal or a lieutenant, right? My name is a rank. So
Oh.
Facebook won't let me use my real name. You can call me Major. Keep up the great work, guys. So I appreciate that. I love that because I actually, and this solves a mystery. And this is the great thing of like being on social media and maintaining connections. I never knew that, Major, until today. So I'm glad that you shared that. So let's talk about names. Let's talk about branding a little bit, Tavia. What's is there a workaround for Major, first of all, on Facebook and other platforms? If they're not, I can't imagine. I don't even know. Like that's blowing my mind right now, Major, that they're not letting you use your name, which is your name. I imagine there might be some follow up that you could do with Facebook itself to say like, hey, my name really is Major. Here's my ID.
Yeah.
Let me own my name. But what do you recommend for people around names? Is there some general style advice for how people represent themselves on social with their social media channels? I know consistency is a big thing that we wanted to talk about today, so maybe we can bring that into the conversation. And I didn't know if there was any other little pieces that you wanted to bring in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that should be consistent. Like I'm pretty consistent with my company name, Styled Sharp, and then my last name is really Sharp. Yes, that is my real name, in case people were wondering. But I use that in all of my branding, the Styled Sharp piece, except for LinkedIn, which is the personal profile. You can't do anything about that. And then my personal profile on Facebook is. But I always keep the consistency, and I think that's important because let's say I'm looking up somebody, right? I want to make sure that if I find them on LinkedIn, I can find them on Instagram and Facebook and all these other places. I think a lot of people, use these kind of fun or fancy things, which is fine, but I say just be consistent about it because you're just making it harder for people to find you. That's all. I
Yeah, I
think the
love that.
branding is important. Yeah.
And Major says, yeah, it's pretty difficult on the social platforms to be myself.
I
So
could hear that. I could see that.
So talk to me about that kind of idea too. Like, how do you get people comfortable? I imagine part of the aspect that a lot of your customers are probably somewhat introverted. I can't imagine that, you're got a heavy percentage wise extroverted, because those are the folks that are usually seeking the attention and seeking this stuff out. And the introverted folks are probably the folks that need a little bit help with putting themselves out there. So for folks that are having a tough time putting themselves out there, how do you give them the confidence to be their full selves on social?
I have a lot of coaching strategies that I do with them to help them build that confidence muscle, So appearance, of course, is one major aspect. But then there's other things that we need to work on. And some of those are worksheets and exercises that we do together to help them communicate themselves in a more powerful way. I do mock sessions with my clients, so like role play scenarios. I may, critique. I mean, this is where you get real feedback, right? But you're assessing, maybe some videos that they're doing, or if they have, let's say, a seminar. I've had like a financial advisor recently who was just starting to get into doing seminars as a way to attract new clients. And so I had to assess, that and how he's showing up on the camera. Does he evoke that confidence that people are saying, oh, wow, I got to get to know this guy more? I mean, that all matters. So I'm coaching them essentially beyond the appearance aspect.
Yeah, I love that. Because I think one of the things that I've definitely seen with folks is, you have a certain group of people that really have talent. And it's interesting to see with platforms like Clubhouse, and I know you're on that platform as well, where you get one little image in the profile photo, which I think one of the things with that platform is the pull to refresh feature for folks that are in the fashion space and in spaces where they have products to sell, like that PTR pull to refresh feature, where you can actually swap out your profile photo and show some different angles of yourself, I think is a really big deal. And I think is going to be huge on that platform, but also huge on other platforms as people sort of understand, oh, wow, I can just use this little bubble to actually make an impact. I think a lot of times we're focused on brand and consistency in the sense of, I'm going to make sure that my image is somewhat the same. Or, for example, on Facebook, I have my casual photo for my casual Facebook profile. I have my fashion-y kind of profile for Instagram. And then I have my business profile for LinkedIn, or I have the same photo across all three, just to show that kind of brand consistency, so you know exactly who you're dealing with on with each platform, which I've seen both strategies sort of work depending on who you are. I think if you're a fashion icon, you're looking for different looks. If you're a business guru, maybe it's just consistency across the platforms because you want people to find you across those different platforms. So talk to me a little bit about getting people sort of into those spaces and understanding how to be the right sort of thing for each of the spaces they're in. Now we're in this Clubhouse thing. So how do you go towards the audio image versus, the visual image on Instagram?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I approach, because I'm an image consultant, it's not just the, visual or the appearance piece. It really is comprehensive. So we want to think about it as like the ABCDs, right? So A is appearance. That's just the first step. Then there's B, behavior, C, communication, and D is your digital presence. So all of these things should be working together to enhance your overall image, meaning like yeah.
Can you repeat that? Because I thought that was huge, and I'll try to throw that up on the screen. A, B, C, D.
A, B, C, D. So, you think about your image, there's ABCDs: appearance, behavior, communication, and your digital presence or your digital footprint, right? So all these pieces really should be working together. If we're just working on the appearance piece, which I have with people, it's just that first step though. Like if you're a business owner and you're out there and you have a brand that you want to sell, like that, which is you, all of these pieces really you need all four, because one isn't enough. All four should be working together for you to really attract those premium opportunities. Image is currency. Let's be real. Image is currency. So it's you're either selling or you're unselling yourself. Period. And that goes for, like, I would say, even for example, if I'm going to virtual networking event, which I'm sure a lot of us are these days because we still need to network as business owners, there's people on this Zoom, right? And later on, I want to go connect with them. Maybe I just had their name, right? I go and I look them up on LinkedIn, and sometimes I'm confused. I'm like, is this the same person that was on the video? Wow, they look really different. And then for me, as I'm sure potential clients for them would be like, they're confused. Who is this person? That lack of consistency is hurting your business. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. So all these different platforms should be working for you. I love what you said. I do think that each one is slightly different. LinkedIn is a little technically more professional than, let's say, Facebook, and your Instagram is maybe more fashiony and more forward. And it's okay that they look different, but can somebody tell that this is the same person? Let's be real. And then when I book a Zoom call with them, and I look them up before, I always look up people ahead of time. And when they show up on the Zoom call, is there consistency in that as well? I think all these things are the things I'm pointing out that people sometimes aren't aware of. And we really got to be thinking about that.
Yeah, image is so important. And now I think it's easier than ever. You got tools like Canva.com, which you can use for free. There is a paid version, but I talk about it all the time. And I actually created the profile photo that I'm using now in Clubhouse with Canva, and I included the BizDev Live logo because I was like, all right, I can put up my picture on the screen, but it doesn't really present in terms of a branding piece. It doesn't really say what, here's this, and I'm going to say this on a racial piece and all that stuff, because I think this is important for anybody coming from everywhere, right? You're female, you're black, you're in whatever it is, right? Here's this just white guy's picture. It's just this random white guy. And I'm just like, what does that say to people? My name is Cameron Toth. I want the profile picture to say something a little bit more than that right away. So I included the BizDev Live logo in the picture. So there's that immediate recognition of, okay, here's this guy, that's his face. Hopefully, people are like, that's a nice face, but there's also the BizDev Live logo there. So you're automatically associating, okay, that's a profile, that's BizDev Live logo. So it carries forward to the brand. And I advertised BizDev Live instead of like Toth Event Staffing, which is my hospitality company that I've had for the last 10 years, because that is the platform that is nationally accessible. That is a digital product that is something that no matter where somebody is tuning in from Clubhouse, that they can participate, versus a local brand that, has, tentacles all over the local region. I'm in Westchester. So really is only going to be something that is a direct business conduit for folks in the local area. So it's a branding choice, but I've been very, very intentional with it so that people, when they see me, they associate me with one thing.
I think it's perfect because, you're the face of the brand, and then now you incorporate the actual brand itself with you. So you just become more recognizable. We're all visual. We are all visual, more visual than we maybe think sometimes. And so when you put that out there, that's your footprint now, and people will remember that. Just like we know those golden arches. I don't even eat at McDonald's, okay? But the golden arches, you know what that is, a Nike logo? Like, so think about when you're a business owner, how do you, besides your logo, become recognizable to create that visual impression? So people go, yep, Cameron, BizDev Live. Like, it's just, right away.
Yeah, I forget the statistic, but something like, kids like at 5 years old can recognize all of these corporate brands. They can't read yet necessarily, like 3, 4 years old, something like that. Like before kids can even read, they can name the brands: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, McDonald's, Burger King, just by the logo. So if you create that kind of consistency for your brand, you can build that kind of name recognition right away. So instantly they see the image, it pulls that recall of that is the brand. That is what they stand for. I love that.
Exactly. Just like Starbucks. I think about Starbucks because, I live in New York City, and we have amazing coffee shops in New York City. There are a ton of really good, like way better coffee. I'm sorry, whoever's a Starbucks lover, but it's true. There's higher quality, I'll say, and better places and more unique places. But when people come to visit New York, they go to Starbucks. Why? Because
I'm a Dunkin' guy, and now my colors match up. So Dunkin' Donuts, if you're listening, let's go with the sponsorship. Let's go.
Get that sponsorship. That is so good. Yes.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's such a funny thing too. And I got this guy that's in my network. I think you might know him, Rob Genovese. And he talks about that in his presentations on just the money piece of it, right? So if you really create a brand niche for yourself, automatically, right, you're not generic anymore. You are at a higher premium. And I think this is such a big deal. We talk about this in the personal branding, even within the corporate culture. And I think these are the clients that are perfect for you as they, people that are trying to climb the corporate ladder. Entrepreneurs obviously are trying to put themselves out there and take up space in the market. But folks that are climbing the corporate ladder to build that sort of image within the company of a better leader, somebody that's more emotionally intelligent, somebody that cares about others. And a lot of that is based in your image, how you communicate, right? I love these things. I was putting them on the screen before, but I think if people go back to that as a guide, your appearance, your behavior, your communication, and then your digital presence, which I think really, how do you respond to emails, right? Like how do you, such a big deal.
All of it,
Talk to me about the communication side of it. Like, how do you coach people through better communication and really representing their brand at a better level communication wise?
It really depends on what somebody needs the coaching in, but it could be anywhere from your verbal to nonverbal skills, presentation skills, video, their behavior. So think about eye contact, speaking style, voice tone, pitch, their energy, elevating that part, their vibe. All of that to me is communication, and it also goes for like I've trained small teams. So think about sales teams that need to be thinking about how they're doing their calls, how they're now showing up on Zoom, and all of that is working together with the appearance pice. So it really depends on what their needs are.
Specifically about the email, and we'll go back to because I think that's especially in this day and age, work from home, so big right now. But in terms of email, what is something that you would be a simple tip for somebody to improve their image on email?
Oh, email is such a good one. First of all, always address people good morning, hope your day is going well, something, not just really make it personal a bit. Maybe bring in something that you last spoke about, or,
right. And I'll put an example in here. Email reply, can you do this? Right. No name, no hi.
What is that?
No salutation, no greeting, no please. Right.
Yes. Yeah, so I think you're right. The greeting, make it personal, always, bring in something from the last conversation or the last email that you sent. And then I think, you should obviously think about your grammar and the punctuation, but space out your lines. I see that a lot where people just chunk together these sentences, and it really makes it hard for somebody to read, or it makes them a little tired and unfocused. So always space out in between your lines. And then always, have a final thank you. I look forward to hearing from you. Greetings, right? And then so the other thing about email is that another part of the visual that I help people is create an email signature. So I personally have a photo of myself, and then all of my branding is next to it. So different ways that people can connect with me. I even have, all of my social media and what I do. So everybody I email gets that, whether they know me or not.
I love that, because that's really the secret sauce, right? If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on these other social media networks, you want to bring it offline to real world things. And I'm saying offline, but another form of digital, which is this direct communication email wise, because you want to set up a business appointment. You want to talk to people. You want to be in people's DMs, which the original DM is the email, right? So that maintaining of visual presence. And I know that's something for me, I gotta work on in terms of my digital signature. It's cute. I got some emojis and stuff with it, but I don't have a visual. And I think I should add a visual element to it. Sometimes I'm annoyed though with digital elements to it, because sometimes people will put a digital element for their contact information. So it's like an image with the email in the image. And that annoys the F out of me because I'm like, I can't copy and paste your email out of your image.
Oh,
Make it functional, right?
Make it functional. I do mine in Google Sheets, Google Docs, and then just copy and paste it into the Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with so many of them, you have the signature pieces, you have the original email signature, you have the reply. I think one of the image things too with email too is if you are professional, if you are an entrepreneur, please don't be your company name at gmail.com, right? Like your vanity URL. It does not cost that much. And I have people using Clubhouse as an example. This lady is saying she's a billionaire from, investing in Bitcoin. And I'm going to, as the kids say, for all the Among Us kids out there and all that, they are super sus because automatically I'm like, all right, you're a Bitcoin billionaire, but you can't afford to have your own website and vanity URL. Like it's $26 a year or, like, it's not that much, it's just not, it's less than $100 a year to have your own vanity URL using Google as your platform, so I have Cameron at totheventstaffing.com and it goes into Gmail, which is great, but it's official.
Yeah,
it's
same.
Official. Yeah.
And doesn't it make you automatically thought, I don't know if this person's legit because of that. Let's be honest. You were like, something shady. It feels shady. So then you feel
I don't know, you
you
don't know, like maybe she's just clueless on personal image and stuff. Maybe that's the case, but automatically, like you're trying to build that know, like, and trust. Already there's a hit. Let there be another thing that, you're not coming across on. And, I think one of the things with Clubhouse and many platforms, for me, the person that has it, they don't really need to talk about it too much because there's already enough people trying to get close to them and be with them because they know the real deal. There's other people willing to speak up for you because they understand the value of your personality. If Tavia joins me in a Clubhouse room, I'm going to speak up and say, this lady knows what she's talking about. I see her doing it on LinkedIn. I see she's styling people. She's got referrals. Like I can see the evidence of it. It's very clear to me. This is a lady that knows what she's talking about. If she talks on this topic, you need to listen up because she is in the know. Let's get it. Let's go. But if somebody doesn't have that going for them, like I'm a little bit like, what's that all about? Like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's branding right there. What you talked about, like all of these things matter because, you and I've built a trust factor, although we've never technically worked together, but that's what I'm showing up as. So therefore you feel I'm credible and trustworthy. And that's what I teach
got
people how to
connected
do.
By Steve Spiro, the master connector.
The master connector.
You had that going for you, right?
True.
And then when you came on the show, you showed up, right? And I think that's so key. I think people that, especially have a little bit of success, they forget that they have to continue to show up, right? And so that's something that's really huge. Are you present on the Zoom call? If you agree to do something, are you putting your full self in? I was talking to a young lady doing the mentorship thing on Sunday morning, and I would not advise for a young person to work at White Castle or McDonald's or Wendy's. I think there's better places where you can go, make a little bit less or a little bit more money, but gain a whole lot more in terms of influence. You are who you surround yourself with, and the folks that are working at White Castle, no knock against anybody that's ever had a White Castle job, but this is not a place you go for spiritual wealth, any kind of personal development. You're going to go get acne because of grease and potentially a less healthy diet and maybe some less healthy information from the people that, are maybe 10 years, 20 years into their career and still working at White Castle, right? And so what I told her was not that, because she hasn't even started the job yet, not that she shouldn't show up for a job at White Castle. I said, show up, be awesome there, but don't let that be the spot that on Monday when it comes and that's your first day that you're like, okay, I'm going to rock with it. That is not the place for you. Go apply some other places. Be awesome as you're in that White Castle job, but when you clock out, look for some other options and go some other places with it. Move up. And I know I've had the pleasure of being in a room with lots of different people, and it's like a university every day with all the stuff that I'm doing. And it's been amazing. And one of the amazing things about being in all these rooms with people is it's all right. How are you showing up and moving to the next opportunity, the next level, the next thing? And that has been absolutely wonderful. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm just realizing, talking about show up, I got to show up for Biz Dev Live networking that is actually happening right now. So
okay.
We're going to do this again, Tavia. We'll pull a panel together, but tell everybody where they can get a hold of you and how they can work with you.
Sure. Okay. So I do a free discovery call. So anybody, if you're interested in speaking with me, zero pressure call, book it on my website, styledsharp.com, StyledSharp. You see it right here, styledsharp.com. And my social media is at Styled Sharp, Instagram, Facebook. Find me on LinkedIn, Tavia Sharp.
All right, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you, Tavia. You were awesome. I'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you